Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John, and today I have a new album review by the band Cannibal Corpse. The name of the album is called Violence Unimagined. So before I begin, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. So let me first talk about the band Cannibal Corpse. They are a death metal band, and they are known for having very gory album covers. For example, their 1992 album is called Tomb of the Mutilated. Now I'm going to show it right here, but this is the censored version of it. The uncensored version basically shows two zombies. One is a female, one is a male. The male is performing oral sex on the female. In other words, he is literally eating her out. So that is kind of like the essence of what this band is all about. They have a really huge cult following, and partly because they were featured in a Jim Carrey movie called Ace Ventura. And that is actually kind of like a family film, which kind of doesn't make sense, but they gained a lot of notoriety and fame through that movie because it is a Hollywood movie. And it is very rare for a death metal band to be in family comedy, I guess you can call it that, especially with a big name actor like Jim Carrey. But Jim Carrey is actually really into this band and Napalm Death, so that's why he invited that band to be in that movie. But anyway, like I said, this band has a huge following. So I remember the first time I found out about this band, Cannibal Corpse. It was in the late 90s, and I was in this outdoor market, and I just happened to glance at this album cover, which happened to be their 1998 album called Gallery of Suicide. Now, the version I'm showing right there is the edited version. I'm not going to show the real one. But that album cover was like very unsettling for me. It just showed people slitting their wrists or hanging themselves, and it wasn't like these zombie people either. It was like real people doing it, and that kind of like freaked me out back then. And for some reason, I really never wanted to like listen to this band. So over the years, I kind of tried to get into them, but I never really did. So I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not somebody who's like really squeamish with blood. I'm a fan of horror movies. You know, I have a few DVDs. I have a couple of the Saw movies on DVD. Like here's the first one. Here's the second one. And I think this last one, I think this is the fourth one. I couldn't really read, the print was very small. But I mean, those were movies that were pretty cool because, you know, they had really good storyline and they were interesting. You know, I like those movies, but I think that album cover, for Gallery of Suicide, kind of like freaked me out. So basically, I kind of stayed away from this band over the years, but I have learned that with this type of music, you gotta develop an ear for it. It's something you gotta listen to like 3 or 4 times, or listen to it over and over again. Because if you're a newcomer and you listen to this type of music, it's just going to sound like noise. The vocals are just going to sound like Cookie Monster. The songs are all going to sound the same, and you're not going to know when one song starts and one song finishes. It's the type of music that you listen to it on repeated listenings, and after a while you really discover the brilliance of it. You know, every part of the song was carefully crafted, even though it sounds like a bunch of guys grunting and playing really fast. But that's really what death metal is in general. It's a style of music that's very technical, it's progressive, it's fast, but you have to like develop an ear for it. So like I said, for this album, I won't go over every song, but I will talk about some of the songs that I liked the best, and I'll talk about the parts that I liked. So let me talk about those right now. The first one I want to talk about is called Murderous Rampage. And as soon as the song starts, it's like really fast, heavy guitars, aggressive vocals. This song goes through some tempo changes, and in general, the song really never loses its speed. There's a breakdown at the 3-minute mark, where it does slow down a little bit, but I actually like it when it gets slow because the sound is like really heavy and really chunky. The next song I want to talk about is called Necrogenic Resurrection, and I really like the technicality of, you know, the riff in the beginning of the song. It's very fast, it's heavy, and the song just takes off with a lot of speed and aggression. And the best part is that the 1.5 minute mark, just like you can really hear the thickness of the tone. They play these notes on the guitar, and you could tell the band like tunes down the guitar. I don't know how far they tune down, but it just has this really heavy tone. The next song is called Follow the Blood, and this, I like the song a lot. The opening riff reminds me a little bit of like old school thrash metal, but some of the darker thrash metal bands. I'm thinking of something like an early Slayer album. That riff is a little more memorable than the other riffs. I like how they do these like string bends at the end of the riff. I like that part. And this song is a little slower than the other ones, and for me, I favor the songs that are a little slower. There are some fast parts, there's some really fast riffs, there's blast beats, but in general, you know, you do appreciate like the slow parts. At around 3 minutes, there's another breakdown, and it sounds really cool. It sounded like a little like jazzy to me. That was just how I heard it. You know, you can let me know if you heard something differently, but I thought that part was really cool. And the next song I want to talk about is called Slowly Sawn. And I guess the title did remind me of those Saw movies that I was just showing you before. But I really like this song. It has a galloping riff, a lot of technical guitar fills. The rhythm guitar is great. I really like the riff. It has like this like ascending and descending sound to it. It's really cool. This is another song. It doesn't move too fast, and you can really like appreciate the intricate parts of the song. The last song I want to talk about is the last song on the album, called Cerements of the Flayed. This one's a little slower, and like I said before, it's the slow songs that appeal to me most. The riffs are just so heavy, they're thick, they're chunky, but they're really like very technical. A lot of tempo changes. It speeds up at times, and it has these like galloping riffs. So basically this song has everything you would want in a classic death metal song. So in conclusion, I think like the other metal channels have already released their review of this. It came out officially last Friday, but I do know some people who pre-ordered it on vinyl early, and they put out their reviews a little early. So I am kind of late on this album, but that's kind of what I wanted to do, because I want this to be from the point of view of somebody who was not a really big fan of this. Now, like I've said before, this is an album that does grow on you after every listen. So if you're somebody who listens to heavy metal but never really got into death metal, it might be a good place to start. Many people have done Cannibal Corpse rankings, and the general consensus is that this is one of their best albums in a long time. So for my rating, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, but that could go up because I do like this album better every time I listen. Like if I had reviewed this like last Friday when it came out, I might have given it a 7, but after a few listens, I was able to just appreciate everything that was like put into it. So that's why I'm giving it an 8 as my final score. So that's it. Comment below. What do you think of this new album? How does it stand up against the other albums? And let's get a conversation going. I'm working on my ranking of UFO albums, and I still have a few more ideas for the next couple of days. So please stay tuned. Check out the in-video links. I'll see you in the next one.